We now go to the ranking member of the full committee, the gentleman from Maryland.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I don't understand the attack on the patchwork of laws. I mean, first, maybe that's because I'm a quilt person and I like patchworks, but isn't that what federalism is? Federalism is a patchwork, and that's the glory of the American governmental system. To be sure, the Congress gets it together to adopt a national law eventually on everything from the Clean Air Act to the Clean Water Act to the National Labor Relations Act, the Fair Labor Standards Act. But I think it would have made no sense to say before those federal laws were passed, let's wipe out the state laws that exist on child labor or minimum wage or not polluting the water or not polluting the air. In fact, that contradicts what I thought the central dynamic of federalism was, which is the states are the laboratories of democracy, as I think that was Brandeis, and then the different changes that they make are compared to each other, and then they bubble up, and Congress takes all of it into account when it decides to attempt a nationwide approach. Is that a fair statement of the situation, Professor Richards?
Absolutely. I think I also have a degree in early American history from the University of Virginia. My studies in early federal history.
Virginia's getting a lot of play today. I don't know. As a Marylander, I got some questions about that. Yeah.
Would you like me to continue?
Please.
Absolutely. The goal of federalism is to have laws that are more responsive to the people who are closer to those representatives, that the legislatures of particular states can adapt to that particular state's problems and strengths, and also to experiment.
Okay, so just to restate the obvious, there was an attempt to impose a moratorium on state laws or to wipe out state laws. How is that different from the way that federal preemption has taken place in the other cases that came to mind for me?
Well, sometimes federal preemption can, just through the supremacy clause, preempt particular laws or laws that are inconsistent with a federal mandate. In addition, Congress is allowed to operate in ways to set a general national standard, but still allow states to experiment with stronger standards so that the innovation in regulation can continue apace with the innovation in technology, as you and Mr. Jefferson put it so well.
Well, and in addition to those differences, isn't it the case that a moratorium today would just wipe out state laws without substituting anything, without imposing a national law? I mean,
absolutely.
Is there any precedent for just doing that, saying we don't want any state laws at all while we think it over or while we're stuck in some kind of legislative paralysis?
I can't think of one, and that's why I think it would be disastrous, because depending first on how the law is defined, it could sweep very, very broadly and take out laws that are important and protective, that everybody on this panel would agree are good laws. And second, if you have broad preemption, this would be a defense that tech companies could make in every piece of litigation, increasing the cost in the litigation system as the contours of that preemption definition could continue to affect litigation years into the future.
Yeah. Some people are with us today who are involved in or have been involved in different kinds of litigation, and my heart goes out to them, being a father who's lost a son. And these are all people who've lost children in different kinds of interactions with chatbots and other kinds of AI technology. And I just want to recognize Kristen Bride from Oregon, who lost her son Carson. He was 16 in 2020. It was the same year we lost our son Tommy. Juliana Arnold, who lost her 17-year-old daughter Coco to fentanyl poisoning after she purchased a counterfeit pill online. Megan Garcia from Florida, who lost her 14-year-old son Sewell, who took his life in February after months of abusive interactions with a character AI chatbot. And Jane Doe from Texas, whose son JF suffered severe physical and mental health harm after multiple chatbots instructed and encouraged him to engage in self-harm and self-violence. And so all of which is to say, in my mind, there are profound problems here that we really do need to deal with. And the last thing I would want to do is to try to nullify states that have already addressed the problem in response to constituents dealing with a nightmare like that without replacing it with something. And I'm not averse to the idea that there might be a national law that works, but certainly imposing a legislative vacuum on the country would be a really dangerous way to go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back to you.